Hey everyone, my name is Runa and welcome to this travel guide for Ikebukuro, Tokyo. Hey everyone, I'm hoping you're having a wonderful weekend. Welcome back to my channel. I'm super excited to start this new travel guide segment with you guys, and I thought that it would be good to start with my very favorite place in Tokyo, which is Ikebukuro. Ikebukuro was the first place that I stayed in a hotel the first time I went to Japan, which was obviously many years ago, and when I lived there a couple of years ago, I actually lived in Ikebukuro, so I know it really well. And of course, one of the most important things to know about an area and anywhere in the world is to know where to hide when it rains. Because when it rains in Tokyo in the summer, it rains kittens. So today we're looking at one of my favorite places in Tokyo, and probably my favorite place in the whole world, which is Ikebukuro. And Ikebukuro is a district in the area, the special ward of Toshima, which is in the north of the metropolitan area of Tokyo. Ikebukuro is fairly close to all the big tourist areas like Shibuya and Shinjuku, and it's a great place to stay if you want to stay somewhere that's a little bit less crowded, a little bit less stressful, but you still want to be really close to all the things that you want to do and want to see in the city. Ikebukuro is a stop on several of the big JR and Tokyo Metro lines, but if you want to do it easy, make it easy for yourself, use the Yamanote line. The Yamanote line is a green JR line. You can go from Ikebukuro to Shibuya in only 15 minutes, and it's even less to Shinjuku, it's about 9 minutes. And you can go to other places like the Tokyo Central Station, Shinbashi and Akihabara without even having to change trains, which is very handy. So I always recommend people using this line. It's also very easy to find, and it's one of the lines that go above ground. So if you're like me and you're a little bit anxious on public transport, it feels nice and airy compared to some of the Tokyo Metro lines like the Marunouchi, which is underground, and it feels like it's strangling you. So Yamanote line is the way to go. Just like many major areas in Tokyo that has a large train station, Ikebukuro is split into two sections by its own train station, and they're most commonly called Ikebukuro East and Ikebukuro West. So I have something that I didn't know for a while, I didn't really think about, is that there are a lot of exits from the train station, and the train station is underground. So if you know-ish where you're going, say you're going to a landmark or something like that, figure out if it's on the east or the west side of the station so you can take the correct exits, because they're mostly marked with Ikebukuro West 1, 2 and 3, Ikebukuro East, So if you know what side whatever you want to look for or wherever you're going is, you will probably have a much easier time finding the correct exit. There are so many fun things to do in Ikebukuro. There's literally something for everyone here. One of the main places you want to visit is the Sunshine City building, which is on the east side of the station. And it is a 60-floor building that has an observation deck on the 60th floor. I'm gonna be honest and say I have not been on the 60th floor because I have a fear of heights and my mother has a fear of elevators. So we haven't been up there, but it's really cool. The pictures are absolutely amazing. So if you're not afraid of heights, definitely go up there. One of the things that I always advise people to is use the Sunshine 60 building as a reference point, because pretty much no matter where you are, maybe if you're standing right under a building, maybe you probably won't see it, but no matter where you are in Ikebukuro, you will see the Sunshine 60 building because it's so tall. So it's pretty hard to miss. You can always look up. So just remember to look up and see the building. You will always know, okay, then I'm going east. Sunshine City is a mega big shopping complex. It has so many different stores. It's home to the Shonen Jump World, it's home to the Mega Pokemon Center, and to the latest Pokemon Cafe. And I'm so looking forward to trying that because it wasn't finished the last time I was there. And I used to live about 5 minutes away from all this. It hurt my wallet a lot to live that close to the Pokemon Center, but it was so good. And I used to walk through there just about every day when I came home from work. Other than the shops, there is a hotel, there is lots of restaurants, and including my favorite restaurant, which is a buffet place that has Italian, Japanese, it has steaks, it has a little bit of everything, and it's really tasty and actually not too expensive. And of course Sunshine City also has a huge aquarium where I have never been because I'm terrified of aquariums. No matter what, Sunshine City is definitely a must-visit place when you go to Ikebukuro. Outside of Sunshine City, you find the famous Otome Road. It's not a very long road and there's only like 6 or 7 shops on the road, but Ikebukuro is huge on cosplay and there's a nice park right next door where they often have cosplay events. I kind of think of Ikebukuro as like a mini Akihabara because there's tons of anime and manga merch shops and stuff like that around that area, but it's much cheaper than Akihabara. So Otome Road is mostly catered towards girls, and there is usually always girls standing all the way up the road and all the way around the corner when there is a launch of something that they're collecting, and most of the time I think they're collecting these like pins, and you can see them like they meet up and they swap different ones. It's kind of like stamps, I guess. I haven't really dug that far into it, I just see them everywhere, and most of these stores have just that. They have little things like the pins and stickers, and then there is K-Books that has the game K-Books that is on that road that has a lot of Pokemon and a lot of other anime stuff like Fate, Monster Hunter, and a couple of other ones. And then there is, in the middle of the road, my favorite shop for buying figures in Ikebukuro. It's on the 2nd floor, it's a tiny little entrance, you can see it right here. And they have a lot of good stuff. They also have a lot of manga and a lot of anime and stuff like that, and a little bit of like used electronics, but they have tons of really good figures, and I bought quite a few there. So connecting the station and Sunshine City is Sunshine Dori or Sunshine Street, which is full of lots of arcades and nice restaurants and lots of blinking lights and some big name vendors. There used to be an American Eagle, that one is not there anymore. They have changed this street quite a bit in later years, but there is also a Sanrio world with lots of Hello Kitty stuff at the end of the street, and all the back streets are full of lovely little shops and restaurants, and there's quite a few other like anime related shops that are spread around in the back streets in the middle here, like Animate and a couple of other ones where you can get a lot of really good figurines. I've got lots of stickers and figurines and plushies from these places, but quite a few of them are used. So K-Books, for example, is a shop that sells used items mostly, but who cares, they're in such good condition, and I have so many things from there, and I'm still absolutely dying that there was once in one of these shops in the middle here a Odin Final Fantasy figurine. That is an official Square Enix figurine. It was like this big of Odin on Sleipnir from Final Fantasy, and I really hate that I didn't buy it, but it was insanely expensive. Also in these back streets is the very famous shop for vintage video game collectors, which is Super Potato. Most people that go to Japan that like anime and video games know what Super Potato is, but it's a tiny little shop. You need to go up this really winding staircase, but I would recommend going there even if you don't like video games, because they have the coolest Super Mario. It's hanging from the ceiling and just looking down at you, and I have to take a picture of it every time I go there, because where else are you going to see a 9-foot tall Super Mario hanging from the ceiling? If we go back to the station is mostly surrounded by the typical things like the large electronic stores. There's a Zara, there is lots of other shops like Don Quixote, which is a store that has absolutely everything, and if you don't like enclosed spaces, I wouldn't go in there because they're always really cramped and there's so much stuff. But Don Quixote is amazing for finding weird things or useful things at a great price. I would definitely check that out. There is one Don Quixote on each side of the station. On each side of the station is a department store. It is literally right above the train station. On the west side you have Tobu, and on the east side you have Seibu. If you take trains in Japan, you will actually notice these names again, Tobu and Seibu, because it's very normal that the big stations have a department store above, and the department store is owned by the train company. So you have in Ikebukuro, you have the Tobu and the Seibu, and underneath them runs the Seibu Ikebukuro train line and the Tobu Tojo train line, which is obviously just a couple of the actual lines that run under Ikebukuro station, because there are actually quite a few. Other examples of this is in Shinjuku, where they have the enormous Odokyu department store, and underneath runs Odokyu Odawara line, and in Shibuya, where the Tokyu department store is, and their lines Tokyu Toyoko and Tokyo Denen Toshi. So this is very normal, and it also means that you usually can transition very easily from train station to department store. They're usually built together, and even in Ikebukuro especially, but also in Shibuya, you can actually walk from the train right out the door and into the department store. And in the basement, where you usually are when you're on the train, is usually the food area. They have amazing sections they have butchers, they have sausages, usually a little bit of international food as well, but also some incredible like sweets for expensive fruits, like specially cured fruits and stuff like that, and it's fantastic. Even if you're not buying anything, it's definitely worth just going to take a look. So the west side is a little bit calmer than the east side. You have a little bit less flashing lights and lots of huge stores. There's still lots of shopping to do on the other side. It's very nice and calm, even though there's still a lot of people. It's a nice and calm area. There is a huge nice theater, and there's also like a restaurant slash nightlife type of area that's like north of the Tobu station. It has tons of good restaurants and tons of good bars, but I would advise to be a little bit careful if you're alone and you're walking around as a woman. I have never ever felt unsafe in Tokyo, no matter if it's rural or not, but it's better to be a little bit cautious, because those areas at night fill up with a lot of drunk men. So like I said, I've never felt unsafe walking around there or anywhere else in Tokyo, but it's better safe than sorry. Ikebukuro is famous for the huge amount of good ramen restaurants, and they're literally everywhere. There's tons of good food chains and small restaurants around in Ikebukuro as well, but there is a ramen restaurant down the street from Seibu on the east side that has a line outside of it all day, every day. And I've never actually been there to eat myself because I have zero patience. I don't like standing in line. But several of my friends have eaten there many times, and the food is absolutely worth waiting for. And you'll get a menu in your hand when you're standing in line, so you can decide what you want to eat before you get in. But absolutely recommend that place. Another restaurant I want to pull forward is the one that I mentioned earlier with the buffet place at Sunshine City. There's a lot of good restaurants at Sunshine City. They're a little bit more commercialized because they're in a shopping mall, but there are Italian places, there are lots and lots of different ramen shops, Chinese food, there's an American place I think as well, plus of course all the usual like McDonald's and stuff like that. But there's a lot of good stuff to eat there, but my favorite is this buffet place. It has such a good selection of everything. It's not a huge restaurant, and what you do is when you get in, you have drinks included as well, and there is a full buffet that you can pick from. With that said, I literally just recommend all ramen bars in Ikebukuro. We have never had a bad bowl of ramen in Ikebukuro. No matter if it's chain restaurants, even like Matsuya, which is technically not a ramen restaurant. They have rice bowls and stuff like that. Even that is good. So don't be as picky. You don't need to go to a Michelin star restaurant every single time. And I'm gonna be honest, I actually prefer to go to Denny's. I hated Denny's in America. Denny's in America is really sad, but Denny's in Japan is really, really fresh. And my favorite dinner in Japan is actually at Denny's, which is this chicken. It's amazing. It's so tasty and I just can't stop eating it. Plus it's really, really cheap. I'm not sitting here telling you to go to Denny's when you're in Japan, but if you're in a pinch, try some of the Japanese dishes at Denny's in Japan. They're not bad. They're actually really, really tasty. The last restaurant or the last meal that I want to recommend in Ikebukuro is one that I have every time I go, and it is a hotel restaurant. I will talk about this hotel later, just so you know, but this is on the first floor of the Metropolitan Hotel in Ikebukuro. It's called Cross Dinner? Can't remember. It's called Cross Dine, I think. Something in that area. And it is an all-day buffet. It's also where you have breakfast if you stay at the hotel, but you can book for dinner or you can book for lunch. And it's pretty much the same food. And the food is amazing. It's a full, huge buffet of anything you can think of. It includes soft drinks and coffee. It does not include alcohol. You have to order that on the side. But there is one side with traditional Japanese dishes. There is one side where it's freshly done steaks, depending a little bit on what time of year it is. Sometimes it's steak, sometimes it's sausages. They have pizza, they have fried chicken, and they have a whole side with salad and bread and stuff like that. And probably the most delicious dessert aisle I have ever seen. I absolutely love eating here. It's again all you can eat, and if you're staying at this hotel and you get breakfast included, you have to try it because it's exactly the same, a little bit more breakfasty dishes. The Japanese dishes are more catered towards breakfast, and you can get natto, for example, but you can also get the best fried eggs I've ever had, really good bacon, sausages. You can get porridge, you can get pretty much anything you can think of, plus some really good pastries. And I cannot recommend this place enough. It's absolutely amazing. The food quality is fantastic. You can eat as much as you want, you can sit as long as you want, except on Christmas and on New Year's, then you only have an hour and 30 minutes. But they're very, very, very popular on Christmas. So I literally can't do anything else but recommend this. I have to mention that it is quite expensive. It's about £45 each, but it is all you can eat and it is included drinks. And let's just say I walked out of there a couple of times and pretty much had to roll myself out the door because I've been so full. So definitely try it if you're nearby. I have stayed at so many hotels in Ikebukuro. I've probably stayed at literally all of them. And I've stayed at a couple of Airbnbs as well, and I have to say that there's only like 2 hotels in Ikebukuro that I haven't liked, but that's also because I'm very, very picky. They need to be clean, the beds need to be properly soft. I like to being able to like fall into my mattress, which usually doesn't happen in Japan because their mattresses are really hard. But saying that most hostels and hotels in Ikebukuro are really, really good. So I want to recommend two hotels, one that's quite cheap and another one that's a little bit more luxurious, a little bit more expensive. So the cheaper hotel that I want to talk to you about it does by no means feel cheap. It is the Ikebukuro branch of the Tokyo Stay chain, and I've stayed at several of these hotels throughout. There's one in Oyama, there's one in Shinjuku, there's two in Shibuya, and they're all really, really good hotels for quite cheap price. So this hotel averages about £40 a night, and a simple breakfast and internet is usually included. I have to say that the breakfast is very simple, but if you just want a quick bite in the morning, it kind of works anyway, and it's usually included. The rooms are Japanese average. They are small, and especially I know people that come from America, which are used to quite large rooms, and they come into a Japanese hotel room and they feel like they're getting squashed. The rooms are about 15 square meters, which is, yeah, it's okay. For one person it works, for two it's a little bit But they also have double rooms that are a little bit larger, and they are really good quality. Like, the rooms are really good quality, and all of the rooms have a microwave, a kettle and a washing machine. All of them have a washing machine, so if you're staying, let's say you're staying for 3 weeks in Japan, you can use the washing machine for free of charge and wash all of your clothes. And the best part is that the washing machines are cleaned after everyone checks out, so the washing machine is literally as new. I always try to squeeze in a couple of days at a hotel like this, like the one in Shibuya, for example, or the one in Ikebukuro. Just do some laundry, because it's a really good hotel, it's quite cheap, and you can do your washing. It's amazing. And all the staff speaks English, or at least some English, which is very, very handy if you don't speak Japanese. The more expensive hotel that I want to recommend to you, if you have a little bit more cash and you want to live a little bit more luxuriously, it is the Metropolitan Hotel Ikebukuro, and it is my favorite hotel in the world. And I've stayed at quite a few hundred hotels. It is the home of the amazing dinner that I talked about earlier in the buffet restaurant, and in the same restaurant is where you will have your breakfast if you stay in the hotel. Now, the hotel has, other than that restaurant, also 5 other restaurants, 2 bars, some little shops on the first floor. It has 6 banquet halls, it does weddings, it has a chapel, and it has a spa and an indoor swimming pool. It has absolutely everything, and if you're really lucky and your room is on the west side, you can look down on the people that are getting married, usually on Saturdays. Their rooms are anything from quite spacious single rooms that look like this, to their large suites on the 25th floor, which are obviously insanely expensive, but they're really, really nice. The views are absolutely amazing as well. No matter where you are in this hotel, you will have a nice unobstructed view. Especially if you're above the 10th floor, then you will have an amazing view. So if you are lucky and you're on the east side of the building, you will see straight to Sunshine City, which you can see here. If you're on the south side, you can see the tops of the buildings in Shinjuku. And if you're on the west side and the weather is nice and you're above the 15th floor, you will probably have this view. Yeah. The Metropolitan Hotel is usually about £65 to £110 a night, which is not cheap. You can get it a little bit cheaper because sometimes they have a sale on, but considering the quality of the hotel and all the amenities, I would definitely recommend this hotel because it's just the best ever. that was everything I had for this Ikebukuro travel guide. If you want more information or just want to know more about the area or any other areas in Tokyo, please don't forget to drop a comment down below and I will help out as much as I can. I do know the area quite well. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!